I want to get this club pointed down and back behind the golf ball, pointed down and forward, and then pointed up and back. And that's sort of the motion that I want to feel and train here. Down and behind the ball, down and forward, up and back. This would be not enough turn, right? This is not behind the ball. If I were to start my downswing and it goes up too early, that would be me missing the low part. That would look something like this. Early release, right? Low point behind the ball. If I go down and forward, that helps me get the handle forward. And then the after part, which is the up and forward. Hey guys, Eric here outside at the Bethlehem Golf Club. In today's video, we're going to talk about why the pros hit their irons so solid. And in just a moment, we're going to hop over to Analyzer. I'm going to show you exactly why and how they hit their irons so solid. Just quickly before they do, want to talk to you about CogornoGolf.com. CogornoGolf.com is where I can coach you from wherever you are in the world. We really built CogornoGolf.com for just that, to remove the barrier between you and I so we can work together. You can send me in your swing. I can build you a specific practice plan to help take your game to the next level, really regardless of skill level. Whether you're looking to break 100, just fix your slice, maybe break 80, break 70 even, we have solutions to help. Would love to see you at CogornoGolf.com. Now, as mentioned, let's go hop over to Analyzer. I'm going to show you how and why the pros hit the ball so solid. We'll come back, I'll show you how to do it and what drills to do.
Okay, let's take a look here at why the pros hit their irons so solid. Now, in simple terms, what we're going to see through the impact zone is the pros hit the ball so solid and the iron so solid because they're able to get the shaft lean or the handle forward, which would look like this here, with a reasonably shallow angle of attack. So they're able to get the shaft lean or the hands forward with a reasonably shallow angle of attack, right? That means just barely little divot, kind of thin divot past the ball, low point forward, thin, shallow angle of attack, right? Thin divot, shallow angle of attack. So the handle being forward and the shallow angle approach. Now the question is, how do they do this? And the big way that leads them to be able to get the low point forward, so they hit the ball first and ground second in front of the ball, and how they're able to get the shaft lean, right, the shallow angle attach, is how their body works, and in particular, how their lead shoulder works. And so we're going to look at Tommy Fleetwood on the left and Tiger on the right, and really how the lead shoulder is going to work. We're going to focus mainly on the downswing pieces, but we'll look at the entire thing. A little while back, a good teacher named Brian Manzella came out with a little bit of a thing that he called the pullback, run up, and jump, which basically explains the lead shoulder motion we'll see during the backswing. They get the lead shoulder down and back. So typically from there, it's going to work down towards the ground, right, and back away from the target. During the backswing, that's the kind of run or the pullback version. So lead shoulder down and back. You'll notice the lead shoulder goes just to the right of where his shirt buttons or sternum were at address. So kind of the wind up, the backswing. Now from the top of the backswing, we're going to note the lead shoulder goes down and forward, right? So we'll use a different color for that here. The lead shoulder goes down and forward, and we'll get him down to left arm parallel. And then by the time the club gets just before parallel to the ground here, so right about there, the shoulders level out. So now it's pulling up and back. And then as he works through impact here, you're going to see the lead shoulder continues to work up and back. So as he works through impact, the shoulder working up and back. And so if we take him back to the beginning, we see the shoulder pulls back, down and away, runs up, which is the down and forward, and then it pulls up and back. Now, if we look at the Tiger example here on the right, we'll notice the same general movement. So we're going to see the pull back part. So left shoulder works down and away from the target, just to the right of his sternum location. So there's where he started. There's where he is during the backswing. So we'll go to about here, right? So that lead shoulder trajectory has worked down and in. If we take him back to the starting point, here where the setup was, you notice that that circle is just to the right of where his shirt buttons were at setup, so down and to the right. Now from here, the first initial movement, the lead shoulder works down or stays down until about left arm parallel, right? So that has worked just slightly down and forward to start the downswing. That helps him get his low point forward, which is why he strikes the ground in front of the ball. Now from here, that shoulder's gonna work up and back behind him. So as he works through impact, you notice that that shoulder now has worked up and back. And it's going to continue to work up and back all the way through his follow-throughs. You can see that shoulder really makes a circular motion for both these players with the irons. It works down and away, down and forward, up and back. And if we kind of dig into a little bit of detail here, we're going to note that as we start working the downswing, the left shoulder is going to work down and forward. And it's not working a ton down. You could even think of it as it's staying down and moving forward would be a fine way to think about it. The shoulders get back to about level just as the hands get below the hip. So we'll call the shoulder motion level pretty close to there. So usually for most of the good iron players, the shoulders get back to level. We'll look at here, just let's call the club about 45 degrees there, pretty close to level with the shoulder line. Right before the club is parallel. Now from here, that lead shoulder is going to work up and back away from the target, up and back away from the target. And you'll notice from here that what that enables them to do, and if we look at the butt of the club, the hands in the club, right, as the shoulders attached to the arms, work down towards the ground from the top of the swing. Right, so from here, as the shoulder works down and forward, the butt of the club is going to work down and forward, right? It's going to work a little bit away from the target, but it works towards the ground and forward. Now, once the hands reach about this point, which is when they're about parallel to the ground, the shaft's parallel to the ground, so hands just outside of the thigh, this is about the lowest point that the hands get right here. Now from here, their hands and the butt of the club, you watch the grip of the club is going to work up and left as the shoulder works up and back behind them, right? So from here, this butt of the club doesn't work down forever. It's going to start working up into the left as the shoulder works around. And this is the part that enables them. So watch here. Here's the butt of the club. Watch as we work through impact now. That butt of the club is going to work up. Look how far up that went. From here in the swing, even look at where it is here, into impact has moved up quite a bit. And watch how much up it is here, right? And so this last little half part of the downswing follow through, that butt of the club's done going down here. As the left shoulder works up and back, that's enabling that club head to shallow out at the bottom. That gives you the shaft lean with the shallow angle of attack. Same thing with Tiger. Look at where the butt of the club gets to here, and then look how far up it's going through impact. I mean, look how far, much more up that is there. And so that's what that lead shoulder is responsible for. So that's the motion we're looking for. You want to get the left shoulder down and forward or stay down and forward to start the downswing. Again, that gets the low point forward of the golf ball. And then you want to get the shoulder up and back in the second half, and that's what enables the shaft lean with the shallow angle of attack. Let's talk about how to do this in some drills.
Okay, so as we saw there, the kind of net end of the day thing that we need to do and why the pros hit the ball so solid is they're able to consistently get shaft leaning towards the target, handle forward, while also producing a nice shallow angle of attack. Shallow angle of attack meaning that club head's going to come down, hit the ball first, ground second, just take a nice thin divot after the golf ball. And really, the main thing you see as a commonality amongst all good pros that are ball strikers is the way that lead shoulder works. So what I would do here in terms of practice, and I've got two little objects to help. One is the stick on the ground, and I've got that even with the golf ball is going to be just kind of forward of middle of my stance. And I want to use it as a reference to start to feel this motion. We said the three motions here with the lead shoulder for solid contact are the pull back, left shoulder down and away from the target, just to the right of my shirt buttons, the run up, which is the down and forward motion, and then the pull back. Now, ultimately, you need to see which one, or maybe all three, one of the three, two of the three that you need to do to help. We like to see the pull back to make sure we get a big enough turn, right? We keep our inclination to the ground to hit the ball solid and far. We like the run up, which is the down and forward motion of the left shoulder, to make sure our low point, or where the club hits the ground, is forward of the ball. And then we like the pull back to raise the handle, which as I raise the handle lets the club shallow out. It also helps me, if I pull my shoulder forward, notice the handle or the grip goes with it, right? My arm is attached to my shoulder. If my shoulder moves up and back, My hands go with it. There's my shaftling. So that's really the purpose. If we focus on the downswing, excuse me, if we focus on the downswing pieces here, the down and forward part, like I said, is the make sure I hit ball first, ground second. That's the main point of that. And then that upward motion is going to be the sort of taking the ball striking to the next level. So if you need more of the down and forward motion, what I would start with is a club across my shoulders. I want to get this club pointed down and back behind the golf ball, pointed down and forward, and then pointed up and back. And that's sort of the motion that I want to feel and train here. Down and behind the ball, down and forward, up and back. This would be not enough turn, right? This is not behind the ball. If I were to start my downswing and it goes up too early, that would be me missing the low part. That would look something like this. Early release, right? Low point behind the ball. If I go down and forward, that helps me get the handle forward. And then the after part, which is the up and forward. And when you start to practice this, you might feel just the down and forward first. Up to the top, feel the left shoulder staying down or working down. And that's going to be the part, if you struggle with low point in front of the ball, that we want to start with. That's the piece that should get you the ball compressing, right? Like that was a solid shot. Of course, there's other parts of the swing, but in terms of just this, that would be the solidness of the contact. Left shoulder down and forward is going to get me my low point forward. So I feel that right from the top of the swing. And again, that's going to make sure I take a divot and that the divot gets in front of the ball. Now that ball flight's solid, but it's a little low, right? It's not as high as I could get it, which also means it's going to cost me distance. And so if I want to add the second piece and I'm going to go down and forward, then I'm going to feel like my shoulder's ripping up and back, like I'm tossing someone off my shoulder, as Brian Manzella said there in that article. So I'm down and forward until about hands are hip high, and then I'm up and back all the way into my follow through. So if you already have the down and forward, you can just feel the up and back. And that, I should be able to get the same compression, but have the ball launch higher. I can keep my hands forward, keep my shaft lean, but get the ball launching higher. And there, we'll do one more. Down and forward, up and back. So here I'll feel just the up and back part, assuming I have the down and forward. And remember, as I feel up and back, so that's the same good contact, but that ball probably traveled 20 feet higher, and so it's going to carry a lot farther. And so those are going to be the priorities to hit the ball and hit the iron solid. You have to record yourself and check. Now, if I have a sand wedge, same thing. I might even exaggerate the down and forward part even more than normal, but the same principles apply. And the only caveat I'd say, even though this is an iron video, I know that we're going to want to know this, with the driver, the only caveat I would say is you don't do the run forward part as much. So you still want to get it to pull back, left shoulder down and back. You want it to go kind of level early and then more up and back, even more exaggerated. Why? Because I want to hit even more up on that ball compared to the iron. So guys, that's the irons move. That's why the pros hit the ball so solid. They get the shaft forward with a shallow angle of attack, with the low point forward of the ball. The lead shoulder is a huge part. Hopefully this helps. If you guys have any questions, as always, leave a comment down below. All right, guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you liked the video, do us a favor, click that like button down below, click the subscribe. Really helps YouTube, and YouTube likes those things. Send our videos out to more people so we can continue making these videos for free for you guys. Really helps us out. If you do like this style video, we're going to put a card on the screen with a similar video to this. If you do want coaching from me and the coaches at Cogorno Golf, we'll put the Cogorno Golf logo on the screen. Would love to see you there.